Hey everyone, my name is Andrew Davis, and you are watching Conversations in Pop Culture. And yes, I am scandalous like an Ashley. And before I introduce my guest, I do want to remind everybody that this episode is brought to you by my friends over at Pocket Jack Comics. And they have some awesome comics coming into comic stores in March. So you can pick up Guinevere and the Divine Factory and Palace of the Golden Princess. And check out those books. They're coming in March. Ask your comic shop to order them, as well as you can go to pocketjackcomics.com, sign up for their email list, and actually try them before you buy them by signing up for my friend Preston's email list. And they're fun books. They're fun books, and they're very female centric. And I do not think you will be disappointed if you like D&D games and some fantasy cool stuff. But enough about that. Enough about that, because I have with me professional wrestler Beaux Bombshell. So welcome to the show.
What's up? Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no. I'm very, very, very excited to have you on. And you've done a lot of cool stuff. And obviously, I kind of tipped off a little bit of what you do and what sector you are in pop culture. But why don't you kind of give everybody a basic outline of who you are before we get into some cool stuff of what you've done, what you haven't done, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, so I am Beaux Bombshell, the bombshell of professional wrestling. I am a indie wrestling superstar, and I've been professionally wrestling for just about 2 years. I started training in August of the fall of 2021 and made my debut in March of 2022. And I've been traveling and wrestling and beating ass ever since. So,
Yeah. Let's actually talk about that because you are sort of green, but obviously, I mean, you made a name for yourself and you've done a lot of stuff in wrestling. And so, what has this been like? Because I think some people know you, some people don't. And what has that been like? Because I think you've done like all over. I think from kind of from Tennessee to New York, you covered the whole shebang a little bit.
yeah, I really have. It's honestly, to sum it all up, it has been a dream come true. It's like I am out here living my childhood fantasy of doing the things I'm doing. And I am still very green, and I acknowledge that. But like you said, I have gotten to do, and I'm so blessed and thankful, I've gotten to do and travel and wrestle so many places, do so many like stipulation of matches, and just do so much. And not even in the realm of like just wrestling. There's been other opportunities and things I've gotten to do because I've been wrestling, and I have been grinding. I've hit the ground running since like March, like I said, March 2022, and I have not stopped. I'm actually like on a little break right now for February, but we're gonna gear it back up and we're going back at it. There's so much more to come. So yeah, it's been wild. I feel so blessed, so thankful. And I had myself sometimes look back, I'm like, God, like it's only been less than 2 years, but it's felt like a lifetime already.
Yeah. So let's actually dive into that a little bit because obviously wrestling is in a weird place right now. I mean, it's weird because Monday Night Raw is great. AEW is pretty good too right now. And we have been through what I think has been the exodus of a wrestling drought, where the last 18 months, probably maybe 2 months ago, 18 months from 2 months ago, wrestling was bad on the mainstream level. It was just bad. And obviously, WWE, I think Impact, AEW, I think New Japan has cleaned up their shit, for lack of a better word. Um,
I agree.
in storylines, understanding where they're going, deals, also actually putting people in matches that make sense. And I think the indies have also, before all this, were killing it and doing better. And what has that been like? Because you came into wrestling kind of, I would say, sort of the middle of COVID, but then it's towards more the exit. And so a lot's changed. So what has that been like? Because wrestling has evolved out of the COVID era. And it's a very different time from somebody who came in before then.
Yeah, it's to be quite honest with you, like when I started training, it was at the like I said, it was at the end of 2021. So it was that kind of ambiguity of like, are we gonna, I don't know. It was like right at that period of like when there were shows again and things were picking up. And honestly, to me, there hasn't really been like something I can pinpoint where it stuck out to me, and I don't know. It's been great. Like I don't feel like I've suffered in any way. I feel like I've only benefited in the time that I've come out come into the indie wrestling world, especially being a queer wrestler. I feel like the time is now. It's like I feel like I've been so lucky because I can't say the same for other queer wrestlers that maybe started even 2, 3, 4 years prior to my debut. So I feel like there's so many more opportunities now for queer wrestlers and people like myself. So I'm just lucky. I came in at like a really good time for myself, I feel like.
I've said this before, and I don't think this is gonna be a secret. And actually, I don't know if I could say who sort of opened up my eyes to this thought process, but Effie was ahead of his time.
Yes.
To put it nicely, and I think Effie is maybe 5 steps ahead of his time right now, and maybe 3, 4 years ago he was 20. So I think time has caught up to Effie, which is probably a good thing. I mean, maybe Effie disagrees, and that's perfectly fine. Effie's been on my show, and I love Effie, but I think wrestling in time has caught up to Effie a lot quicker than Effie running away with the ball. It's not a diss at Effie, so I hope he understands.
No, I totally agree. I know exactly what you mean. I agree.
But it is interesting because I was there when Billy Dixon cut that promo at primetime, and he was in the ring and he cut this promo, and I was like, oh my gosh, just it was almost like, and I'm gonna say it, and me and Billy spoke about this because I used to live in DC. I was like, this is kind of a career ender at the moment of what could potentially end your career, what he was saying. And they were, I think, in a month or two after that, going to be doing, a Pride show with wrestling. And it was kind of like, okay, we're at a pivotal position here where how is this going to play out? And it's a fair position. So it's so interesting that obviously I think people are more comfortable now. I think people are more accepting. I also think wrestling has been, I guess, barriers have been broken. Not perfectly, but I do think that barriers have been broken.
Oh yeah.
But nothing's perfect. But I digress.
Yeah, sadly, especially here in the South. But we persevere. So. No, my mouth is dry as well. I'm like, oh.
So what is this like though for you? Because obviously you have done a bunch of Pride shows. You've been involved in that. I think you did a Matter of Pride, and obviously you had a bunch of matches there, and that is a very cool place to wrestle in a lot of ways. And there's a lot of history. There's a lot of stuff going on with it. A lot of people have come out of there, and a lot of people have gone on to do a bunch of other stuff. And so what is that like? Because I don't know all your matches in a Matter of Pride, but I know you've had a bunch.
Yeah, actually, in a Matter of Pride, I am undefeated. I have been wrestling with them since summer of 2022, and we just had our last show in was it September of last year or maybe October? I think it was September of last year, and I have been undefeated. So I have been honestly so blessed with that. I love a Matter of Pride show so much. I love and I did Effie's Big Gay Thanksgiving as well.
We're gonna talk about that. Why do you ruin things for me?
What?
I'm so sorry. It's just we're gonna talk about it.
We won't jump ahead, but with a Matter of Pride, I love that show so much because I love any show where it's a full locker room of other queer wrestlers, because it's just something so magical. It's honestly obviously such a safe space. So there's none of that like, oh God, what am I walking into? Because I mean, I've definitely been in some locker rooms in like West Virginia or a lot of non all LGBT promotions where I'm like, I never have never been there before, and I'm like, there's that in my head, which is always going to be, I'm hyper vigilant because of who I am. I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Who's like, hopefully nothing crazy happens. Hopefully there's no dickheads or whatever. But luckily, I've not really encountered that a whole lot.
Let me ask this, because obviously I'm not going to go name promotions, but I've had my own problems, and I'm a fan, and I've had my own issues with business, and I've also been treated very well, where I've dealt with unprofessionalism throughout wrestling collectively as a fan, as a sponsor. And so I mean, the way I view it is that, you know, locker rooms sometimes are run professionally and sometimes they're not. I'm sure you've been in places where you're terrified and it's been wonderful, where you've been treated with respect and people are professional and they just say, look, we're going to have a killer match here. And are you in or you out on the match? And are you in on, this promo and all that stuff? And everything goes perfect and you get paid on time and a bunch of other stuff. Because there's been plenty of wrestling where, forget even about LGBTQ or queer issues, wrestlers getting paid is a huge issue in a locker room. It's a huge issue, let alone safety of people. So, I mean, do you feel it's that, or do you feel that also it's just that people fear what is different and they're just not understanding, or is it that people come in with perceived notions of X?
Definitely perceived notions. I'll speak for myself. And I hate to sound so like, I know a lot of people probably get like so by hearing this, but like I've been so blessed and so lucky in my 2-year career that I have like encountered like maybe like a little, like not even like out of my whole career, maybe like 15% of like that kind of thing where it's like a little bit of hate or, or homophobia or whatever. So I really haven't encountered that a whole lot. I mean, to be honest with you, the only time where I like was maybe what I felt where I was disrespected in the locker room was my debut. And that probably in itself tells you like nobody knew who I was. I show up and then, transform into my gear and stuff. It's in West Virginia and a lot of the wrestlers there. And if you know West Virginia and that whole circuit, it's like literally the same 20 dudes. And no dig to them, but it literally is just like the same group of people that do West Virginia. And you have somebody new that comes along, especially someone who looks like myself, you're going to kind of get like, who the fuck does he think he is? Like, who? And, and I got that. But I was kind of like anticipating that because it was my debut. And then we ended up having like me and a guy I went to, that I like trained with and was like a classmate of mine in my school, a wrestling school. We ended up having like a fucking banger of a match. And then they were just kind of like, all right, like, so then it kind of was like, like, didn't want to like, he got his hand shaken by a lot of people. I didn't, but I really didn't give a fuck. I was like, whatever. Like, I came, I did what I was supposed to do, and that's that. And I don't think I've wrestled in West Virginia again, not for that promotion, but for other ones. And yeah, so I don't know. I've been, like I said, I've been so lucky with the companies I work with. Like, I've been so lucky with A Matter of Pride. Obviously, like I'm undefeated there, and they actually, I will say this about A Matter of Pride is that and Rick, like I know has a history and there's somewhat bad blood with people that have come out of there, which like you said, a lot of people, I mean pretty much like 90% of all LGBT wrestlers, Effie, Sonny, all the ones that are big names now came out of there. So you have to acknowledge that. But I speak for myself when I've had nothing but an incredible time working with them, and they kind of showed me what a locker room was supposed to be like having a doctor on premise and not having like catering but having a food tray and just like having like just things that you're like, oh, like every locker room should kind of be like this, like this is the standard. And then you go back down to the South and you get there and you're like, you got water bottles, and you're like, water bottles you didn't bring, you're kind of like, really, like, okay, so yeah.
I went to a bunch of wrestling shows in DC. I love DC wrestling. It was crazy. It was a good time down there. I've been to a few shows up in Connecticut, but I don't know what the back of a locker room looks like because I've never been back there. I have no desire to. I have no desire to be in a ring ever. It is not for me. It is not for me. I really
Not just to
like.
step in it, to be like walk around, give like a
I'm
little.
good.
Like,
I'm good. I'm good. It's just gonna end poorly. It's just gonna end poorly. And I know what to. I know my place. I'm perfectly fine as a fan. Because knowing me, I'll get in the ring and then I'll get suplexed next, and it won't be a good time for me. Knowing my luck. But anyway, but what is that to even go further into Effie's Big Gay Brunch, because obviously that's another LGBTQ very friendly promotion. And what was it, number 9? I think it was number 9. Was it 8 or 9? I forget which one was it.
I think it was number 8 that happened in Tampa. I wasn't a part of that one though, but it was in Tampa. I was a part of the Effie's Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I forget the numbers. It could be 11 for all I know. It's been forever. I watched it. I just don't know what number they're on because
Pretty sure it was
I thought it
8.
was supposed I thought it was supposed to happen once a year at WrestleMania. Now it's happening like 6 times a year.
Right?
But what was that like? Because this is a big
Sorry.
deal. Because I think it's GCW, if I'm not mistaken, does it. And I think, right? I could be
Well,
wrong,
see
right?
that. So I'll not to correct you there, but so this is kind of weird, right? I didn't actually do Effie's Big Gay Brunch. That is GCW, and that was they had in Tampa during Rumble weekend. I did Effie's Big Gay Thanksgiving, which was through a promotion called Elevation Pro in North Carolina. So it was actually, and what after the fact, and what I've been told by people who have done the brunch shows, it was quite different actually. So, and I'm not saying in a bad way or a good way. I really wouldn't know because I've only done the Thanksgiving, but it was definitely um with after the fact and in retrospect or whatever, and talking to other people who've done the brunch shows, it wasn't really the same.
But just to I guess get to the question that I'm curious about is that it is Effie's thing, and it's his name on what's going on, and it's his brand, and it's his show. I don't know if
Yes,
that makes sense. So because that's the thing is that he is in one of the pioneers that has
yes,
kind of broke down this massive barrier for a lot of reasons. Effie is just massively entertaining as a wrestler, massively comedic, a talented wrestler, a fearless wrestler, and an amazing open speaker, just very articulate. And that's what's so interesting is that it's an honor to be on an Effie show because when you have the pioneer doing it, it's different than when it's we're just gonna. I don't want to like be mean about this, but if it's just
I think you froze. Hello, I think you froze. I gotta move this over. My phone's gonna die.
still there, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. My computer legitimately just restarted on me. You there? We good? Are we good? I don't know what just happened. One, sec. 1 second. I don't know. Can you hear me? I don't know if I can be heard. Give me one more sec. Can I be heard? Or no? Hold up. This is so weird. This is so weird. I don't know why this is doing this. This is so weird. I don't know why my computer is doing this. This is so odd. Give me one more sec. Give me one more sec. I don't know if it's working yet. Oh, let's see. Let's see. One more. Camera allow. Microphone allow. I don't know if it's working yet. Just we're gonna have to do this the old-fashioned way. Hopefully this is working. Just give me one sec. Oh. Are we good? Can you hear me or no? I don't know if you can hear me. I don't know if you can hear me because I can't hear you. It's like the weirdest thing ever. Are, are you muted? Like, I don't know. This is so weird. I don't know. Like, can you hear me? I'm so confused now. The most confusing thing I've ever dealt with. I am so confused. Yeah, I can hear. I don't know. Yeah, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. It's not working. This is so. Oh, I'm so confused now. Let me see if it's a me problem probably. Oh,
Hey, I can hear you now.
I don't know what happened. It's like the weirdest thing.
I'm
I
so sorry. It might have been me, but I was like, I don't know. Let me see if I get off of here and then come back on. Now I can hear you. So I hope it wasn't me.
what it was is that for those who are curious, and I'm probably gonna edit this out on my edit side of this, is my computer just crashed for some reason and it's been acting up all day. And maybe it's because I have 50,000 windows open, but like it just crashed. And then you cut out. I'm like, oh my God, it's my laptop. And my laptop's not that old, but it gets abused. So I'm like, great. But I don't really know. So there
I
we
was
go.
plugging my merch, and when you were off, so I was saying things.
Wonderful,
And then I
wonderful.
was saying where I got my lip gloss and how I did my hair. I was talking, so I mean, cut it out, you know, by means, but
So speaking about Effie, we'll just get back to Effie. What was that like though? Because obviously being on a brand like Effie, obviously he's the pioneer, and that right there is kind of, I guess, an accolade, for lack of a better word, and it's a brand builder, and it definitely puts you on a pedestal, and I would imagine it kind of tells you you're going in the right direction.
absolutely. Okay, I'm gonna choose my words wisely with this. You are so absolutely right. It was when I got the but that's why I was reiterating beforehand that the Thanksgiving was absolutely, it was an Effie brand show. His name was on it, and I was so thankful and grateful to be on it. It was like, oh my god, it was like this. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna be on an Effie show, right? Like I totally had that reaction. It was amazing, like that moment of being like, oh my god, I'm being on an Effie show. With that being said, though, it was not a GCW brunch Effie show. It was a kind of an off, I don't know what the word is. I'm not trying to sound like ungrateful or whatever, but I will say, and I really don't care saying this, is that the promotion that he did the Thanksgiving um did the Thanksgiving show through personally was not my fave. My It was not. Let's just say I probably won't go back and work for them again. And that was just because of the communication that I had gotten on my end with things such as pay and different things like that, and it being a holiday. Without going into too much detail, and I'm not trying to be like, here's the tea. It just was very, it was very a little low quality. The professionalism with the way they booked us, or myself
Let's
personally.
actually talk about that. Not necessarily the specifics, but I think there is a level of professionalism that is an issue collectively right now in the world. So obviously, I have a day job, and I like to say I have a 10-minute window of when I'm supposed to be in. And look, life happens. If there's a car accident, everybody's getting late. Things happen in life. But if I'm in at sometimes I'm in at 8:55, sometimes I'm in at 9:05 for whatever reason. But there is a window of professionalism. And going back to wrestling, obviously getting paid or getting negotiating what your pay is or when you get paid, half up front, maybe half when you get there, things like that, being treated with courtesy in a locker room. And it is an issue. And I had Logan Black on, and his motto, what he tries to teach his students, is we make the place better than when we found it. And I don't know if wrestling promotions understand that. I don't know if sometimes bad things happen. Maybe, somebody's just stretched too thin and it's just whatever happened. But it is an issue sometimes where there are really, really well run promotions. I like to think Wrestling Open is a very well run promotion from what I hear. But then I've also heard horror stories. Nova is a good example outside of DC where that, and they're no longer in business and they were a disaster. So it's an issue. And so, like, how do you figure out, where to go, where not to go? Because I think that's a real issue for
Well,
wrestlers.
yeah, that's a great way to frame what I'm about to say. Is that I was told ahead of time by multiple people that I have a lot of trust in, as far as like my coaches and other wrestlers, that the individuals that run that promotion that basically franchised Effie's name for the show, is I heard a lot of negative things, and I was kind of in this limbo of like, well, like shit, like I'm getting the call from Effie, but not really the call from Effie. I'm getting the call from this promotion that they're doing an Effie show, which I've heard later now, and now I know that like when you get booked by Effie, you get booked by Effie, not through the promotion. So I was kind of like, so I asked around, and I was like, well, I have heard negative things by many people about certain individuals that work for this promotion, but I really want to do this Effie show, and it's something different. It's not a brunch, but it's Thanksgiving. It's an Effie show at the end of the day, and I want to be on it. I want to be featured, and I'm so thankful and grateful and excited. But the moment I had no, let me put this out there because I don't want any confusion. by no means was anyone disrespectful towards me in the back or anything like that, or it was like I was uncomfortable, but it was this feeling in the air that it was something was off, and it was very like, okay. And then I got paid, that's no problem, but it was just the beginning steps. You know what, I don't care, I'll be transparent with you. I declined to do it because of the what they offered me. It was kind of like, oh, what's your rate? I gave them my rate. Oh, we can't do that, this is what we're doing. Oh, I was like, oh, well, no thank you, thank you but no thank you. And then it was like within 24 hours, oh no, we need you, we'll take it. Okay, so like I just felt like I was getting like very lowballed, and they were trying to like pulling over on me, which you're not going to do. And then B, it was all very strange. It was strange. So it was a little, I'm not gonna lie, it was a little, and like I feel like other people that were there can relate, but it was very not put a damper on it, but it was very like, oh, okay, well. So I loved it being a part of Epi. It was like such a great opportunity. I was on Fight TV. Like, don't get me wrong, it was amazing. But from what I'm hearing, through the grapevine, is that like it was kind of a show to propel this promotion to get this TV deal, and they kind of used they franchised Effie to do so, and that's what they did. And good for them, great business venture. But like, don't do that off my back, and then try to pull and say you're going to pay me $40 for a show on a holiday. No, thank you. And I'll keep it straight up.
Let's actually talk about this, because I've walked away from deals and sponsorships that would have got me financially stable on this show. And my costs for all those who are interested, and if the person knows who they are, but they were trying to lowball me, where I had a deal with another person. I said, look, I'll match that deal with another sponsor that was paying me a lot of money and a good chunk of money. And that sponsorship was going to end, and they were going to overlap by 2 months. And the person was trying to buy ads on my show for like $1.50. And meanwhile, I'm charging somebody $9 an ad. And I said, look, I can go down to $8.50 if you buy 200 ads per ad, but I can't go down to $1.50. And then after a while, I just walked away, because the product, I wasn't a fan of the product. I didn't think the product was good for clients of mine and for people who might need it. And on top of that, the money wasn't there. And if the money was there, I might have taken the money, to be honest. But I didn't like the deal because I smelled something weird.
Yes.
And it was the communication where, I could throw a graphic up and an overlay, and the person's like, oh, it's skins. And I'm like, what do you mean it's a skin? Like, they were using terms I didn't understand. They were lowballing me, and I didn't like the product. And so I walked away. And so I think it's a very complicated thing. And I think very few people understand how to walk away from a deal. And then today, I walked into a deal that I negotiated on eBay, and it was a good deal, and everybody was happy. And the deal felt right. And so it goes both ways. But I think it's very complicated. And I don't know if wrestlers are really good at this.
They're not.
It's not a diss. It's just like, how do you walk away from being on an Effie show that's going to get you promotion and be a milestone, but you're getting lowballed and something feels off? And not even, I don't know if you felt unsafe during the negotiations before all this, but that also, even tabling that, I mean, that's another factor too.
Yeah, no, it definitely put a bad taste in my mouth prior to going to the event. So you got to think like, well, now this has already happened and I'm not even there. What's it gonna be like, when I'm there? And fortunately, it was great, and it was nice, cute, and it was, I wouldn't say it was everything, but it was great meeting Effie. He's an amazing performer. It was amazing seeing him and Allie, and I really appreciated that. And to also touch on what you just said about wrestlers not knowing it, they don't. And I feel like and it's their fault. It's not their fault, but in a way, I feel like other individuals that were on that show probably were, and it's fine, probably, got the same message I got and grabbed it and was like, yeah, I'll take it and do it, without really thinking it through, because they see it's an Effie show. And I get that. And I did that. And until I was like, wait, hold on. It's Thanksgiving. I'm not going to be with my family. I'm close to my family. So it's like, fortunately for me, so I was going to be not seeing my family. I was going to be traveling over 3.5 hours. And I had to sit back and go, whoa, whoa, whoa! I can't just jump at something because of like a name, no matter who it is. Like I have integrity, and I'm just not gonna. It really was like I was kind of like went into I spun out really mentally because I was like, no, I can't sit there and accept this. Like I'm sorry. Like so then I'm glad that I said I declined, thank you, and it was made clear that like no, you were asked to be a part of the show. We're gonna have to give you a rate. So then it was like, okay, well, why didn't we just start off that way? I feel like you were trying to pull one over on me, and it's making all those things that I heard sound accurate and correct. So and then post that, I've heard even more, and I've actually seen more things about yeah, some discrepancies there. So that's that. And love Effie, and I was so grateful to be on this show. But I can sit here and say I probably won't work for that other promotion.
Yeah, no. I mean, good on you. I usually walk away, and I am a difficult negotiator, and I am a tough negotiator. And I am like an iron wall. I really am. I find it to be a sport. I do. I get a lot of enjoyment out of negotiating on eBay. I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. And for somebody who runs an eBay store and sells a lot of nice comic books and some other stuff, it's a sport to me. It's a sport and it's a war. And I love it when people lowball me because I highball them back. It's so enjoyable and it's so intense and it's like it hits my dopamine levels. It's better than a lot of other things
I
in
can
life.
relate, yeah. And I've been lucky enough that I've had coaches in my life that have helped me like in that aspect. I don't feel like a lot of times we go to these wrestling schools and they have individuals there that coach them not just the physical training and the moves and the psychology, but like how to sell yourself, how to negotiate, how to market, and all that stuff. And I've been fortunate enough to have an individual in my life that really helped me with that and got me through that. So I was able to get what I asked for. So, and I don't think it was a lot at all. So, I mean, I'm not going to disclose that, but it's like it wasn't a lot. And but at the end of the day, great match. I loved working Noah Vale. It was an amazing match. I got to have another spot in the Battle Royal with them, and it was amazing meeting Effie. He gave me great advice, and I can't. And we've been in talks to work together in the future. But I'm looking forward to that, and I can't wait for that. And the opportunity was incredible. But with everything I said, I stand by. So
No. I think it is what it is, and I think unfortunately, I have a friend, and he gave me a nice compliment. He said, "There's a lot of people who are trying to do things. There are very few professionals." And he was saying it about a lot of things, including my show when I do an interview, where there's a lot of people who do podcasts. A lot of people are not professionals when they do it. And being a professional doesn't mean you're perfect. It means that you show up, you actually have an idea, you know who you're speaking to, and as
yeah,
well as being a wrestler, showing up before your match, being there at the start of the show, understanding what's going on with everything, even if you're not setting up the ring, understand talking to your opponent, talking to people backstage, being cordial, being a professional is a very, very unique skill. And some people get it, some people don't. But I
right.
digress. I digress because I do want to talk about UCW.
Oh
Um,
yes,
and there's some fun stuff in there. There's some fun stuff in there.
isn't it?
There's some fun stuff in that promotion. You and I think Ghazi, had some stuff with the White Outlaws. And what the hell was this match?
Oh my
I don't
god.
even I don't know how to describe this match. I don't think I've ever seen anything. It's very perplexing. It's very perplexing if you're not ready for it. I'm gonna be very honest with you.
Yeah, so UCW Urban Combat Wrestling is a promotion in Asheville, North Carolina. I've been working with them since January of 2023, so just over a year. They are my family. I love them. Again, I've been so blessed to be able to be a part of such a company and such a roster. And the owners of the UCW are incredible. Spaceman Jones and Mook Massacre. They, as well as like everybody else on the team, they are such incredible guys. They get it. They get the entertainment. They get everything about wrestling. It's been such a dream job to work for them, because not only do I wrestle for them, but since June of last year,
I want to table that, but say what you're gonna say, and then I want to talk
yeah,
about that.
I also work with them, behind the scenes, with their, marketing and their media and their social media and their content. So, and they've allowed me to like blossom and just like, really take the reins on like the creativeness and all that. But yeah, they really love the gay, and they love everything that's non-traditional. I mean, I think, and I'm like, this is kind of like Franken bitten right now, but they were told, like, when they started, I guess right before the pandemic, that like their idea of what they wanted their promotion to be and how they wanted their show to go, they were told, like, they got a lot of no's and a lot of, oh, you're going to kill your crowd, you're going to kind of like kill your product. And it's been the complete opposite. And they have had, like, I've had a bra, like, so with Ghazi, Ghazi and I, we had a bra and panties match with the White Claw Outlaws. I like how you call them the White Outlaws, because that's really what they are. But they're the White Claw Outlaws. And we've had, oh my God, that match was so crazy. Like, it was so much fun. I know it sounds so weird, like it was one of my dreams, but it really was. Like, I grew up watching like the Divas and, all those types of matches. And, for what it was as a kid, I loved them. And so I definitely wanted to be able to do them. I just never thought I would be able to get to do one right out the gate my first year of wrestling. Like, I've gotten to do so much. Like, they've let me host a whole entire show, Mimosa Slam they do every year. I got to host that event, and that was like a dream come true. Like, I wanted to host before I wrestled. We could talk about that later, but like getting to do that, like, out of the gate was like another, like, whoa, like I kept checking off boxes that I couldn't believe I was checking off so early. And I got to check those boxes solely because of promotions like UCW and A Matter of Pride. I will say I've done a lot there that I've want, like, before I started wrestling, I was like, I want to do this. I want to have a paddle on the pole match. I want to have a bra and panties match. I want to have, like, I definitely still on my bucket list is like a Playboy pillow fight. Like, I don't care. Like, that's just what I want to do. And, who's to say it's not going to happen this year? But yeah, UCW, they are like literally so dope. Like, it's like they say their tagline, not your granddaddy's wrestling, and I live for it. Like, it's so not like the norm, and I'm so thankful to be a part of them. I can't. And they have a show February 18th. Be there. I won't be. I'm injured, but I mean, I did have my nose kind of jacked up. I'm a little bit better now. But
So there's so many things to talk about. So what is that like though? Because obviously doing a bra and panties match is very untraditional now. It's very outside the box. It's very much back to the early 2000s, maybe even late 90s. And it's interesting to say the least. I am picking my words wisely here. It was. Let me put it this way: it was not expected, as I stated when I saw it, and I did a lot of homework and a lot of research. I'm like, okay, this was not on my bingo card, guys. This was definitely not on my bingo card.
And we were the main event. That tells you something right there. Let me tell you that.
Again, I am picking my words very carefully and very respectfully, because this is where I get canceled in this interview on my own show. I know it's coming. I know it's coming. But it's interesting. And then obviously there's been a bunch of other stuff. Obviously, I think you wrestled as Chucky as well against the Warden, and I think that was a Halloween show.
Oh, that was so great. We had the crowd so gagged because we had Warden dress up as his alter ego, and he sat in the audience the whole show until my gig came out, and I did a Halloween costume contest, and he's clearly in it. And then all of a sudden he like chokes me up because he doesn't win, and people are like, "What the hell?" Like, the guy, if you watch it back, the guy that's dressed up as dead Hugh Hefner, ironically, he was like gonna like save me, because he's like, wait, this crowd participant is about to murder Beaux Bombshell. And like, that was great. Although I will tell you, I'll give you a little tidbit. There, I did get in trouble because for that match, but just a little on the wrist because we did a glass spot. I did like a picture frame over the head, and we didn't ask. But I was like, let's just do it. Let's like, you know what they say? You ask, what is it? Forgiveness later.
Ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Yes, and that's what we did. So we did it, and they were like, yeah, no, don't do that again. I was like, oh, no worries. I was only gonna do that one time, so we're good. And they were like,
So you didn't want a Cookie Monster Pumpkin and Jack Perry it.
yeah.
Too soon, everybody, too soon?
Maybe a little bit too soon, but it was, yeah, like that was great. But back to the bra and panties thing was obviously my idea, and I was like, please, like months prior, I was like, please, like, I was not like, I wasn't begging, what kind of was, but I was like, what would you feel about that? And they kind of gave me like, and they do this, they're never going to be like no to an idea. They go, okay, all right, we'll work it in. And you know, you think like a couple shows go by and you're like, okay, it's not going to get worked in. But then before you know it, I'm in a long-term feud with the White Claw Outlaws, and then bam, they announce it, and I was like, and the guys, they were such good sports about it. They were incredible. They literally went above and beyond. Like, it was so good. And honestly, that match is not out on YouTube or anything. I have the footage. I'm actually going to be launching a Patreon in March, and I'm going to put it up there because I feel like it's a little more, you know, it's a little
risque.
It's a little more risque, yes.
With a Q,
exactly. And it's funny, I don't know why this is like a tangent, you just made me think of this with UCW, but they have a whole production crew in the back, and they have like several cameras, and we did a show in Knoxville, and it was a 90s show, and I dressed up as Britney Spears and like the Baby One More Time schoolgirl outfit, and clearly I wore a bodysuit that's a thong. And I'll never forget, after the match, we get back there, and one of the guys who does the production, and they're like, because they're gearing up to use all this footage to make like online buy show, whatever, and are on YouTube and stuff. And he was like, you know what, Bo, that outfit's great, the match was great, but I don't think we're gonna be able to monetize that match on YouTube. I was like, oh shit. He was like, yeah, but I love those guys. They just kind of let me like live my fantasy at the fullest. So,
I love Britney Spears.
25
years. Her first album came out this year.
Yes. And yeah,
she's gonna make me money too. She's gonna make me a lot of money too.
How?
So my friend Tom Hutchinson does Big Dog Inc. And on his Kickstarter, he did a Britney Spears tribute cover of his character Critter, which is in comic shops now. The character it's back in comic shops. So his version is Britney Ears, because Critter is a superhero who has cat ears. And it's adorable. It's adorable.
Oh my God, please send me that once we're done on this.
Yeah, I'll find that. It'll be great.
Please, Britney Ears.
It's adorable.
I'll give you money for that. I love Britney, and I've probably said this in all interviews and podcasts and wherever anybody listens. That is mother. I will love her unconditionally till the day I die. And it's beyond people. It's beyond her music. It's beyond, really, it's like a spiritual love.
But she was in the wrong touching that basketball player, because the Spurs need to win. They're really bad. The Spurs.
She ain't touched nobody. Let me tell you something. I forgot that happened, and that makes me mad all over again. So we're going to
I'm sorry. The Spurs need to win, because I have money on the Spurs. They have like the 7 foot, whatever his name is.
I don't know her.
It's a guy, and then he's like 7 feet in basketball. It's like,
yeah, exactly. I don't know her.
Yeah. Hey, look, this is about making money. It has nothing to do with anything else. I love Britney for everything else, but that's there. I'm sorry. The Spurs need to win. They've had horrible seasons for like 10 years, and they
just have many more.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm a Knicks fan, so I'm thrilled. Because we have Jalen Brunson. He's great. The Knicks are actually good. It's a miracle. But I digress. But I actually do want to get back to the social media side with that wrestling promotion, because obviously you're behind the scenes creating content and doing a lot of stuff, and obviously there's production as well. And what is that like? Because I think people forget that wrestling is not just what takes place in the ring. It's the promos, it's social media, it's YouTube, it's a variety of things. And it is very important now to have a social media footprint, or have some type of, whatever you want to call it, whether, I don't know if YouTube's social media, it might be, can be, cannot be, I'm not too sure, but having some type of, I guess, digital footprint matters right now, especially.
Absolutely. It is, it's dire. Like I can't tell you how many times I've told the guys that I train with, that I've come up with. I can't tell how many times I've seen people who are amazing wrestlers, who know all the every move in the book, and they know the psychology, they understand it all, but they will not go far. They will not really get off the ground because they refuse to dive into that side of things that is so important, so necessary. And I've even made videos on my own page where I'm like giving advice and, tools and stuff to help individuals, because I see it so much. Like, one of the worst things I hate, one of my pet peeves, is when like wrestlers will share posters and it's like cut off, and it's just like, or they can't format it right. And it's like, it's 2024. Like, it's so easy. There's an app for everything, and you don't have to pay for it, and it's just so easy. It's so necessary. Like, I can't drive that home enough how necessary it is to be even just a little bit savvy in social media and content and media in general. And I see so many guys out here that, like I said, are so talented in the ring, and they get the moves and they get that part. But I'm going to go farther than you because I get the other part. And you might say I'm not a good wrestler and all this stuff, but I'm out here getting booked and busy, and you're still stuck at school, and you get for like the local promotion every month, and you wonder why. And I got to give it to the guys at school who do listen to me, and they have stepped it up, and they do it. And yeah, it's so important. It matters, and it will take you so much farther than you think it will. And it's, a lot of people are just so like, I don't want to do it because I don't know how to do it. And it's like, well, let me tell you. And a lot of people will be like, well, do it for me. And I'm like, all right, well, give me some coin, and I will. And I have clients, and I do that for people to make money. And I respect that. If you don't want to do it, you can pay me to do it. That's fine. But at the end of the day, like, if you can't afford to pay somebody, you might want to sit down for a couple hours and watch a couple YouTube tutorials and just get the basics down.
See, it's funny because my YouTube channel grew the second I started creating micro content, and I created shorts, and I've been slacking, and I've had a crazy January. A lot of things went wrong in like 2 weeks, but I have all the content built. I just need to actually do it. But sometimes in life things happen. But my micro content is actually scheduled out in 90 days. So I took 6 weeks off, and what actually happens is that all of a sudden I'm now on YouTube, because YouTube is a search engine. So I'll put up a 3-minute clip out of an interview, and that thing will initially only get 10 plays and 10 views. But then fast forward 2 months later, that thing has 110 views. And then fast forward 6 months later, it's got 200 views. And then fast forward 3 years later, I've had things that have had 500, 600, 700 views, and I haven't even looked at it, and they become almost feeders. And then you actually look at your data on YouTube, all of a sudden I say, cool, this drives subscribers. This drives watch time. This drives other things. Gets recommended next to this. And so I view YouTube very much as social media. I'm not very active on Twitter, but I also share a lot of my interview stuff on Facebook, because people are there, and especially in groups that are very active. And that also drives traffic. And
Yeah.
it doesn't take that long. I turn on something on Peacock or Netflix, and 2 hours later, I'm pushed out into 70 groups, and drives traffic. And then you get stuff. And, could my social media be better? Sure. But it's a starting point.
No,
And I
as
think
long as you're doing it, it doesn't matter. It's not really with social media. It's about quality. Don't get me wrong, but it's more so about quantity, and it's more about consistency. And a lot of people, I will say what you just said a little bit ago. A lot of people don't even realize that with Instagram, Twitter, even Facebook, pretty much every social media platform, you can now schedule content, which has been such a just a benefit to me, especially doing the content for UCW, because then I literally usually what I'll do typically on a Monday, I will basically for about 5 hours jot out 1 to 2 weeks worth of content and have it scheduled, and bam, boom, don't think about it until 2 weeks later.
I usually schedule on a Sunday for the week. My shorts and some other content because it just works. And then also with interviews, I just do that manually, on Mondays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays.
No, yeah, as long as you have your own system. But I'm just saying that tool's there for people to use. They don't even realize because it's like it can be so overwhelming. But hey, if you have like 5 things, pictures, videos, whatever you want to post, schedule it out, and then you can rest for a week or whatever, or not worry about it for a week, and then be still consistent without thinking like you have to pick a time out of the day and stop what you're doing.
I scheduled the YouTube stuff. I scheduled the shorts out. That works. But my pictures, I try to find what's hot, and then I have a bunch of pictures, and I have like 20,000 pictures on my phone. So I try to capture that in the comments.
You try to find what's hot in your phone. You're like, bam, no, I'm just kidding.
yeah. It's go, yeah, I got this right here. And then every once in a while, I'm just like, oh man, this would be perfect for this. And then also I try to schedule around holidays too, because I know that Valentine's Day, you got to put up Valentine's Day covers because it just works. And so purposely,
I was just doing a heart.
Yeah, we can't tell people that. Just because Travis Kelce is going to propose to Taylor Swift on Sunday does not mean that we all have to disclose our relationships here. But anyway, I'm rooting for them. They're going to have beautiful children. They're going to have beautiful children who can sing and throw footballs. It's going to be amazing. Or catch footballs.
And dance. Thanks to Travis.
And dance, yes. It's going to be great.
I love Taylor.
I can't wait. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Oh my gosh. God bless him. Just God bless him. He's the winner of that deal. He is the MVP. He is the MVP for every.
Until he's not, and then it's going to be that new album, and it's going to be, But I don't know. I wish him the best. I think.
No, see, Taylor's next album is going to be the Chiefs playbook. I'm telling you, go wide, Kelce. Go wide. Go throw a slot.
That's funny.
The tush book block. I'm telling you, her next album is going to be labeled after football plays because that's how this is going to go. It's going to be great. It's going to be the best album ever. It's going to do like 50 million copies sold. And to every NFL team who's not the Chiefs because they want to win against the Chiefs because they're going to win a third one and a fourth and a fifth.
Damn. Go off, Tay-Tay.
I have money on the Chiefs. That's why
I can tell.
Hey, they are a plus 100. So if you bet $1, you win $2. I mean, I need the money because I want to buy things that are really cool, like a watch.
There have never been truer words said. I need the money because I want to buy things.
I want to buy cool shit, and I don't want to.
Amen to that.
I want to buy cool shit, and I don't want to use my money from my job to do it.
Right.
I want to use somebody else's money. I mean, why not, right? but I digress. I'm gonna get you and me both in trouble.
Really though, I'm like I'm tiptoeing around the Taylor Swift stuff.
Oh, clearly.
I love her though. I mean, like I don't love her, but I don't hate her. She's cool. She aight.
Oh.
I give it to her for her success. Bitch is bad in that era, but
yeah, it's all right. We all have bad blood. It's all right. So many things I can say. I mean, we can all shake it off too. I mean,
I knew you were trouble when I started this podcast.
It's all right. I'm fearless, and here we go. I can go all day. I got openly attacked by somebody, and so I decided that I was going to go through the Spice Girls albums as my response to them. We only lasted one round. Only one round.
Oh, you didn't get to If You Can't Dance? If You Can't Dance, If You Can't Dance.
I started with Stop Right Now, and that's what ended it.
Well, hang.
So, no, I had like 50 songs where I was gonna be two become one. I was gonna go through the line, and then I was gonna go to Backstreet, and then I was gonna go to NSYNC, and then I was gonna end with Shrek. And I had 40 responses lined up, and I was so disappointed.
And all you had to do was say, "Stop right now. Thank you very much."
Stop right there. Thank you very much. I need that. We can't do the rest of that. I don't want a copyright infringement. I'm also not a good singer, so but I digress. But I do want to actually go even further a little bit into that social media stuff too, because obviously I think you touched upon it, but I don't know how you feel, but I think Effie's actually said this where he stopped like doing seminars and teaching because he was telling all these young kids how to sell merch and how to do stuff, and they would listen, they would pay, and then they wouldn't fucking do it. And I don't know if that still is a problem in wrestling, where I don't know if people listen. I don't know if people are actually trying to say, cool, how do I get better? Or if people want to do it their way, or they just think people are full of shit because people think I'm full of shit on a lot of things like investing. And so I just stopped giving my opinion. And I kind of taken Effie's approach where I just said, fine, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I put my money where my mouth is and I'm winning. And then you guys all make fun of me. And now I'm like, okay, you do you. And I don't know if like you feel that way to some degree.
Oh,
Or
100% I feel that way. Absolutely. Like I sometimes I'll be, and I don't want name promotions, but sometimes I'll be the only person, not at UCW, but sometimes I'll be the only person selling merch. And I'm like, y'all, it's like, and I'm not like, it ain't nothing crazy. Like, it's not, I mean, some people aren't able and it's a little difficult, but it's not really a big, it's not hard, and I hate to sound like that. It's not hard, but it really is not difficult to like scrape up something, even 8x10s, or even I've seen people go to the Dollar Tree and create things and sell them, and it's like a hit. And yeah, I agree with Effie on that one, like because like I was just telling you earlier about the social media. I don't know how many times I've told individuals like just get this one app and it'll help you with everything, and it's like they don't listen, they don't do it. It's just some people are so like comfortable and stuck with what they think's working, and they don't realize that they've been working for like 6-7 years, and like what's really happening with your career. Like are you making money? I mean, if you're enjoying it, then by all means, like that's amazing, but like are you making profit? Are you stepping up? Are you like bringing yourself up? Are you just kind of coasting and like relying on one aspect of wrestling? And for some people that's maybe all that matters, and again, that's fine. But me myself, I am out here trying to do it all, make a buck, and like leave a legacy. I don't know, like it's frustrating sometimes trying to like I've had fallen outs with people because I'm like, yeah, I get it, you're a great wrestler, like that's great, but like what else? And I'm gonna try to help you, and then it's like I don't want to do that. I can't do that. And it's just a bunch of like negative no's to themselves. And I don't know. But I totally agree with you.
I mean, look, you know what it is? I'll be honest. I'm not on every single social media platform. I just can't do it. But I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, and I'm on TikTok, and that's where I end. I'm not gonna go to Threads. I'm just not. I'm done.
That's where you stop. That's where you draw the line.
There's only so much time in a day. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Rumble. I'm in enough places that if you say, "Oh, I can't support your podcast, Andrew," you're not on Threads. I'm sorry. This is where I end. I have a day job. I run an eBay business, and if I'm on 5 places, and if that 6th place is your problem, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. But I also think that if you're not on YouTube, Twitter, or Instagram, like I understand some people hate Twitter or X as it's now known, and they say, "Look, I'm purely on Facebook and Instagram." And I'm like, "Great, that's awesome." But I think it's when somebody is not on anything because I can't even reach out to people if they're not on social media.
Exactly.
So there you go. But I don't know. I don't know. It infuriates me a lot.
Same. It's a big part. It's such a, like I said, a necessary part, especially of any industry or realm in this day and age. But like especially for professional wrestling, you are pretty much selling yourself. How are you going to do that if you don't have any social media, or with that being said, have any like presence, or just a lot of people just they quit before they begin, you know? And it's
It's
all
interesting. It's interesting that you say you're selling yourself. So I've actually made more money off of this podcast and just from relationships because obviously I buy and sell comics and I'm allowed to buy wholesale from people because I've interviewed them. So when I'm able to buy a book for $10 and then sell for 50 versus buying the book for 25, there's a huge profit to be made. And because when you interview somebody 3, 4, 6 times, say, "Hey, could I buy from you wholesale?" They're like, "Yeah, why don't you ask Schooner?" That's what happens. And then they're like, "Yo, I got this. What do you want?" And then I could actually get into their warehouse and I could clear out their stock and I can get what I want. And because of that, it actually is efficient and works. And then also what happens on the other end is that obviously I'm not monetized on YouTube. That's a whole different ball game. But all of a sudden people recognize me. Obviously, I advertise my eBay store on my show and people find out. And then people are like, okay, cool. What do you got? And then my name gets out there. And now I have every single video. If it has my eBay stuff in there, all of a sudden, that's just another entry point. So there's a lot of benefits, even if I'm not making direct. Then I have a sponsor. And then I bring in new sponsors in and out. And I'm not making a killing off my sponsorship, but they pay for my StreamYard. And so now all of a sudden, I have a unit that's making me capital. And I think a lot of people don't even understand that. I mean, if you have access to your matches and you have a pro wrestling tees shop, or I forget like the other three that are out there, but you should probably put that right before your match for 30 seconds or 5 seconds, just on like an infographic. And now you have an advertisement that's working for you.
that is smart. I've actually never thought about that. So thank you. That's really smart to put that before a match, because these
I
matches
mean,
be collecting views and bam, online sales. There we go. Well, I'm glad I came on here today.
no, because I put in my description all my eBay stuff, and yeah, and even in my micro content, not in the shorts. I'm not going to go bother in a short clip because the point of a short is that it's a search and
Keep it
seek, and
short.
it's an entry point in. But my micro content, 3 minutes in the description is my eBay link, and
Yeah.
it's smart. I mean, hell, you know it is on this. If I at some point I'm going to be selling the backdrop here. And I've tried to explain to companies saying, don't you want to buy a backdrop that is getting, 50,000 views every single year? And that's in perpetuity. So that when I cut this thing up on TikTok, I cut it up on Instagram, I cut it up on every other platform. I mean, what if I'll prove it right now. What if your t-shirt, it was somewhere, your pro wrestling shop was right below where it says conversations and pop culture. And then and it was on there for 50 episodes. And those 50 episodes across all my platforms did 30,000 views. And what if I charged you $20 for all 50 of those episodes? That's dirt cheap viewership.
That is
And
true.
that's what I think people don't understand.
Mm-mm. They don't.
It kills me. It kills me. And the
It
people,
kills me too, man, because it's like there's so much there that so untapped, and it's just people get in their way, and it's like it's just the self doubt, or like, well, I've never done it, so I can't do it. But at least try. You're gonna fail. Let me tell you, I used to, when I first got on YouTube years ago before wrestling, it was a matter of just like putting it out there, no matter if the sound quality was shit or if it would look like shit. At least it was out there, and I was continuing to do it, because then that opens up room for growth. If you never start, there's never going to be any growth, and that's that. So, but
it
I'm like,
kills me.
I gotta remember that putting my shirt on before the match. It's like, yes, that is so smart. Like, thank you for that.
It kills me. And then people don't respect me. And that kills me even more because I haven't done a book. And I'm like, you could buy it now, or you could buy something in perpetuity dirt cheap, or you could pay for what you want. And it kills me that people are looking at social media and YouTube and viewership, and they don't understand that media is fragmented now.
Yes,
It's very
absolutely.
fragmented, and I'll use the name, and I don't really care. You might, but and you can tell me to be quiet anytime. Alicia Tout, I love Alicia Tapp, but back in the day when she was doing a bunch of interviews with all these top people with Hot Topic, she was doing 80 to 100,000 views. She's lucky if she does 50,000 views on an interview. A lot of her interviews will do, 16, maybe 22,000 over 2 or 3 months, but she's having a really hard time, and it's a really big fall going from 100,000 down to 20,000. That's a really big fall because technically speaking, this show is a competitor to her because and it's not a competitor to the same degree that I'm going to get 20,000 views, but somebody might come across this and say, cool, I'm going to watch this. And then they don't watch that. And then the next thing comes out and their show comes out on Netflix. And then it takes them a while to watch what they would have watched with her. But it's not just me, it's me and everybody else. So when you have 15 interview shows, it's very hard for one of them to run away with the ball, unless you're Joe Rogan or you're a big podcaster who's obviously has that audience that becomes a priority.
Yeah. No.
But I digress.
I wanted to tell you though too. Before I forget, because you were talking about comic books and stuff, and I don't know if you know this, but my school that I train at is also doubles as a gigantic comic book toy store, and it's called The Basement. It's in Salem, Virginia, outside of Roanoke, Virginia. Just plug that so you know. A lot of people are always like, "What? Like that's so cool!" And I've been dying to like do like a Versetti, the owner of my coach. I've been dying for like the 2 years I've been there. I was like, we need to do like a vlog, obviously I'll host. Well, obviously I didn't mean to sound like that, but like I want to host it, but I'd like for him to go with it through me because I don't really know all of the comic books and the characters and things like that. I usually know more like the women than I do the men. But and like he has like rooms. There's like a Star Wars room. There's like a horror room. I think maybe I'm making that up, but I see like Freddy Krueger stuff here and there, like Chucky stuff. But yeah, so just put that out there. But anyways,
that's cool.
Yeah. So while we're wrestling in the ring, if anybody ever watches like my stories or something when I'm training, like mostly Saturdays, some Wednesdays, they'll see a lot of the times I'll go when I'm having downtime. I'll go into the toy store and there'll be like a freaking display of like nothing but WWE Diva women's figures that from Jacqueline and Sable up until now, and I'll be like, look at all this, and so people always love that, and I'm like, I really need to get on like doing like a little walkthrough of the comic book store that's in my wrestling school, which is it's gigantic. It's like a warehouse. You're like, oh yeah.
I haven't been inside a comic shop in forever. I have no desire to. There's no good reason for me to go to a comic store anymore. No good reason. I could order everything I want offline, and I buy a lot of stuff wholesale, and I'm killing it. And I buy a lot of indie books, and I buy a lot of bad girl art, and I buy out print runs. Speaking of which, because I'm myself. So for those who are interested, I have all 15 of this book in hollow foil. Yes, that is Burissa.
Burissa.
Yeah, Burissa. From like it's like the Mario fan thing, that Burissa. So I bought out the print run for this book, all 15 of them in hollow foil. So I own all 15 of them. And then I bought out this print run, and this is Mirko from My Hero, also in hollow foil. So I bought that out, and then I bought out a third print run of something. And I don't want to tell people what it is because that's what I do. So you have to exclusively buy those from me. And in the next probably year or two, I'm probably going to be buying possibly 3 to 4 more print runs out. Because this is how you compete. And it's an expensive way how to compete. But on those books, I'll make some good money. But they haven't sold yet, but which is fine because I don't really care. I can hold the debt in my company. It's not as much as people think. But nobody's copied my strategy yet. But it's all out war, and I'm waiting. I'm waiting for my competitors to figure out what I do. I'm waiting for them to figure out what I do so that it becomes very much a proxy war, and I'm looking forward to it.
Oh my god!
No, this is a comic fight, and people think, again, people make fun of me for doing this, And I'm like, you don't get it that I'm eliminating competition. I am systematically eliminating competition. But
Yeah.
people don't get it, and that's okay. People don't get it. But I digress. But yeah, so I do want to talk about one more thing that's very important. Um, and what is the right color of nails? No. I'm
Right
so
now, green.
actually no. I
No.
thought that was funny. The real question is that I am curious how you feel about streaming. And I mean, my take is that every wrestler does not need to be on TV. They need to be on a streaming platform right now, more so than anything else, because I think TV, cable is dead. I think being on something like IWTV or Fight is way more effective than being on Monday Night Raw. I really do. I think if you have to choose between being on Fight TV and being on the whole Fight Network or IWTV or what is it, title match, I think it is way better to be on those platforms than to be in an Impact, WWE and AEW, or New Japan or Ring of Honor or whatever that is. And I'm curious what you think because it is a somewhat controversial position.
No, I totally agree. I mean, to give you an idea, like we'll go back to the when I was on the Effie's Gay Thanksgiving, we had the Fight TV, the deal they got there, and that was amazing. The exposure I got from that was incredible, especially with like the hashtag on X. It was I knew it was going to be. I knew in my head I was so excited about it because I was like, oh my god, my family gets to see me because I'm gonna be there for Thanksgiving and they get to see me on this like the streaming app. That's great. I didn't even. I know this sounds silly, but I didn't even think about like, well, there's going to be like people who actually want to watch this show that are going to be able to watch it too, and it's going to be a great number of people that want to do that, and that's exposure. I know that was kind of naive, but I was just so stuck on like, oh my god, my family gets to see it, and I was blown away by it. I was like, oh my god, like the surge and my social media accounts was pretty nice. I was like, wow, like I need to yeah, I think it's incredible. I mean, I wouldn't go as far as saying like obviously to be on Raw and these major mainstream wrestling promotions that are on TV, absolutely, like that's great. But like now we're in this era of like your indie show is on a streaming platform. So my grandma and Joe Schmo down the street who likes wrestling and whoever this person is who couldn't make it to the show gets to watch it. And at the end of the day, it's just more eyes on the product, on us ourselves. I think it's
Do
incredible.
you feel because I mean I have a interesting story about Impact. Impact, I remember. So what I used to do is that I used to live in DC and I used to work for the government. So on Fridays I would go home, I would stop and get this little like some food from this place called Soul Spice right outside my apartment. I would
Ooh,
go up, I would stop at the liquor store, go get my stuff, put it in my bag, go back to my apartment. I would eat my food. We're talking me being now home at like 5:15. I'd eat at like 5:30, and then I'd pour myself a bunch of alcohol. I'd play a bunch of Overwatch, and then at 10 o'clock, Impact came on slash TNA, and I would just be half drunk tweeting at all these wrestlers like Jordan Grace, Killer Cross, Bobby Lashley, the Rascals, and all these like Rosemary. And here I am, I'm completely drunk, and I'm like, oh my god, Rosemary has Full Metal Alchemist on her gear, and all this other shit, and all these wrestlers would respond back to me. And I don't know if Impact was live or if it was being recorded or if it was taped the day before, but I'm like, this is awesome. This is awesome. And that's how, when I was shooting at Wrestling Open, that's how it was. And that's how it was with St. Louis Anarchy. And I mean, obviously, I took a break for a bunch of reasons. I've had some bad experiences with some people who did, when I said, oh man, this wrestler's money, some people just snapped at me. And then I said, I took a break. And I'm like, bro, it's Twitter wrestling. I have a right to support whatever wrestler I want to support. And I'm sorry, but I'm the fan here. You're the professional. I didn't cross a line. And so I just took a break. And I'm still technically on a break. And it was like 6-7 months ago. So I watch wrestling. I just don't tweet anymore about it. Um, It's very easy, everybody, to ruin something for somebody. It's very easy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Don't
still
let them.
sore from it. I'm still sore from it. It takes a lot. It takes a lot. But my favorite thing is interacting on Twitter with wrestlers.
Yeah.
It's when I was doing it, it's amazing, especially when they're interacting with you back. Like Ray Jazz is the best at it. He's the best at it. And like especially if you play into the frame. There's some ones between me and him that are great. And I mean, I DM'd him. I'm like, I'm playing to the frame. You could lay into me, and he understood that he could lay into me. So it's great. It's great.
No,
But
I love that. Yeah, when like I said, when people were tweeting or tweeting about my match at the Effie thing, and like they were like, oh my god, they were getting like the Tori Wilson reference and the Britney reference, and then just like it was so amazing. I was like in real time. Like I've had so many indie shows, like the fans there like will share videos on their stories and stuff, but that was really incredible to like in real time after the match to go on to X and then to see the hashtag and then like they're like people are like discussing different things like the references they use to the moves or whatever, and I was just like, it was really awesome. It really was. So like it was amazing. So I love that. But I get what you mean. People are wild on the internet. It's a lot of children out there on the internet. People forget, and I can only. I mean, back when I was a child, back when I was in my younger days, when I had MySpace and stuff, I can only imagine.
There's been fights between me and fans, but nobody ever went ape shit on that. There's people say, "Oh, what match were you watching?" Like that's happened. That's not what's upsetting. It's when somebody who is a wrestler says they're all money and then they're challenging my opinion on a particular wrestler saying, oh my God, that girl is money in the bank. And there's 4 of the wrestlers who are also tagged. And I'm saying, oh man, so-and-so is money in the bank. And then you snap at me. Like that's just unacceptable. That's just unacceptable. And if it ever happens again, I'm just gonna call it out publicly. And I'm gonna make it a big issue because there's a difference between my opinion as a fan and you snapping at me as a wrestler and as a representative of you being a wrestler. There's a big difference. And the difference is that I'm paying your salary. And that's a lesson that everybody should learn. And because if you piss off your fans, and promotion should understand this too, is if you really piss off fans and you piss off the wrong one, it could sink a promotion. And I haven't seen it, but I've seen it with companies. And so I think wrestlers need to understand that there are lines, and sometimes I don't think some of them do.
No, they don't.
But I digress. We've been speaking for a while. I do love Britney. I love Taylor Swift. I am
Britney. What's your favorite Britney Spears song?
Oh man, I like Toxic.
Of course. Come on, give me something different though.
Toxic. Good. Womanizer is a good one.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, I like you.
What else? What else? I mean, I can't take her Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones. That was just pitiful. That was just disrespectful.
We ain't got to go there. I ain't say all that. I said give me your favorite. I ain't say give me your least favorite.
What else? What else did Britney do? I haven't heard anything recently that she's done.
She recently her fans got into their trolling Justin Timberlake because he had a new single called Selfish, so they decided to go back 11 years and make her bonus track Selfish from her studio album Femme Fatale chart higher than his because they're petty as fuck and I live for it. So that's what recently she hasn't had anything. She only had
she did something with Elton John, didn't she?
Yeah, Hold Me Closer.
Because yeah.
He's been kind of, he's been kind of like reimagining his old songs like he did with Dua Lipa and then Dula Peep, and then he did with Hold Me Close with Britney, which was pretty successful. I thought it was cute.
And then he did Tiny Dancer with himself, which is cool. Just the music video of that, which is awesome.
Yeah. She had another song recently come out, like not recently, but like last year come out, Will I Am. It was called Mind Your Business. But again, it was like a track that was like cut from an old album.
Yeah.
Probably she was kind of like, yeah, put it out. She's over
No,
here doing her thing.
I mean, I love Derek Barry. You know Derek Barry, right?
Hey, Derek. Of course I know Derek Barry. I'm a massive RuPaul's Drag Race fan. I literally love this season so much right now.
Oh, see, I love RuPaul's so much because this is gonna sound so fucked up, but I love the queens who are a little bit heavier because they are so sick in the library. They are the most savage. And I know.
Yes, Andrew. Not the queens that are a little bit heavier because they're sick in the library, honey. That's it right there. That's clickbait right there.
I mean, I don't know how. I mean, that's a little offensive, but it's so true. That's the problem.
Girl, you read them, but then you like brought it back around to make it great. So don't you worry. I stand by what you said. That was everything. Oh my God. I love the heavier queens because they are sick in the library. Come on, Andrew. That was amazing. Who's one of your favorite drag queens? I'm like, I know she's gonna be a big girl.
So I think it's Latrice Royale. I love Latrice Royale. And then I forget the one who
Eureka, Darian Lake.
I love Ginger Minge. I think she's great.
Yeah, Ginger Minge. Do you know her? Speaking of Ginger Minge, her and I saw on Twitter the other day, or X, whatever, that her and I can't think of her name, but the drag queen that's always at like Effie shows, and she's becoming more prominent.
Pala something.
Yes, Polo or something.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to say her name. Excuse me.
I don't remember the name either. So no.
Her and Ginger Minge are in like a Twitter beef, and I swear I think they're gonna bring Ginger Minge in.
I mean, what it is that who's there's been a bunch because I have all the Pop Funkos of them, and then I sold some of them because there was money. There's money to be made on that.
Yeah, like the Trixie Mattel. Oh, she's one of my favorites.
The Trixie Mattel. I did not pick a Trixie Mattel, and I should have, but I got like 5 RuPauls from DragCon at Hot Topic. $60 a pop, a $15 pop, $60. Oh my Lord. RuPaul's made me some cha-ching.
Yes, I love that. Are you watching the current season right now?
I don't. It's not even that. Like, I watch clips on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Because it's like I used to watch parts of it, and then what wound up happening is that you just fall out, and then you just get busy.
And there's a lot. I mean, it's like it's constant. It's like All Stars, a new season, All Stars, new season. They have all the other like international seasons now.
And then after a while, I just say I can't take this anymore. No offense, but like I say, look, I'm just gonna go watch like Ted on Peacock, and I'm gonna watch Law and Order. Because let me
I've had enough of these bitches. I'm at my threshold.
I really enjoy it, and
I can tell.
It's great.
Good names,
but after a while, I'm just like, okay, cool, I'm good. But like, have you seen Family Feud with RuPaul?
Yes, I love that episode so much because they fucking have Steve Harvey like gritting his teeth the entire he's just on like eggshells, which is so funny because I don't know him. I don't have the best opinion about Steve Harvey. He's like I don't hate him, but he's not my favorite person. His age kind of gives off that like I don't mean to be homophobic, but I am, or misogynistic. But like that episode was pure gold because he was
I love Steve Harvey. I'm sorry.
Oh no, a lot of people do. I don't like I said, I don't hate him, but it's funny you bring that episode up of Family Feud with the RuPaul's cast because it just goes to show like how uncomfortable and like how he was like trying to not be. It was great. It was great TV.
Who was the original guy on that show from Queer Eye for the Straight Guy?
Oh, Carson Kressley.
Yes. When they were doing the OG, he's like the original gays. Like that just broke me. That just broke me. And I am a straight white male, and I just died on the floor laughing because it was one of the funniest things I've ever heard. Because it wasn't funny; it was just his timing was just so.
It's a great episode. Like, I suggest anybody who doesn't even watch Drag Race or Family Feud watch that episode because it's
And
so
Latrice Royale did the deep voice, and that was great.
And then they kept giving him shit about his plum suit. He was like, "I ain't never wearing this suit again. I'm gonna hear it for the end when I get back to my boys." I was like, "This is."
I thought RuPaul was great. I thought Michelle Visage was great. I thought Carson, right? I think
Carson Kressley, and then it was Raven, and then Latrice.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Raven was the weakest on that show because Latrice kind of stole the show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sorry, Latrice stole the show and RuPaul stole the show because RuPaul's thing. Wait. Oh, that episode was great.
It is a great episode. I'm loving that we went down this avenue because I'm obsessed and I love that episode. It's funny. I was actually supposed to go see Trixie and Katya, two very famous drag queens, last night within my area, but they had to postpone the show and I was so upset. But yeah, I'm a big Drag Race fan. Oh, actually, you know what's so funny is at UCW, one of the reasons why I love them so much is that the last show I had in January, I came out to one of the drag queens talent numbers. Like the new season had a girl named Mirage on it, and her talent number was a song where she like click-clacked her like stripper heels. And I was like, I want to come out to this music, and they're always like, of course, like they'll do whatever. And so I got to come out to one of her talent number song, and I got to like lip sync it and stuff. And then she like liked it on Instagram, and I was like, oh my god, yes. And then she went fucking home like 2 weeks ago. But anyways, big Drag Race. But I'm never gonna forget, Andrew, that what you said earlier, that took me out. Took me all the way out. I love the heavy set ones because they kill it in the library.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, the bitches can read. Yes, they can.
I mean, I'm a sick reader, but that's not the point. When I go deep, and I cut hard. And I do not get to put on my glasses very often. And, because
Andrew. Yes.
I play to win. And there's a reason why I have to table that because I go all the way and then some. And there's been a few instances where I've gotten pretty hard down. And let's just say there's certain people who are no longer functioning correctly because of me.
Done.
Oh my god! Just it was just like a moment of truth, and people were like, "Oh my god!"
I know. I'm like, girl, don't come for me. I'm kind of scared now. I'm like, Lord, don't read me.
There's a reason why I don't do it because I don't know where to stop. It's like a superpower, right? It's kind of like Superman could kill us all, but he chooses not to. It's very humbling when you do something like that.
I love the comic book tie-in. That was great.
It's very humbling. It's incredibly humbling. But that's everything I got. I do want to give you a chance to promote yourself. So where can people find you, bother you, hit you up, all that fun stuff?
Yes, so you can find me on pretty much all social media platforms at Beaux Bombshell, and that's BAUXX Bombshell. Facebook, X, Instagram, trying to think, YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, Beaux Bombshell. Yeah, you can find me there. And I'm kind of on a break for February. I do have like a secret show that I'm doing on the 18th that's in Brooklyn. I guess I can kind of give away a little bit. It's going to be a Sailor Moon rave that I get to be a part of, and I actually get to star as Sailor Moon. So I will be doing that in Brooklyn.
For the musical of that.
Yeah, I'll be doing that in Brooklyn at the Brooklyn Monarch, and that's on February 18th. But other than that, I have a lot of stuff coming that I can't like talk about, but I'm so excited for like March and April and WrestleMania season. So I'm just super excited. So follow me on there and stay posted. And
then everything I got going on, obviously I'm going to keep saying it. You have to support indie wrestling. It does matter. It's very important. That means watching wrestling, buying it legally, seeing shows, buying people's merch, following them on social media. It goes a long way. And then as far as I'm concerned, obviously my social media is down below. I am Pop Anime Comics on Twitter/X, Pop Anime Comics on Instagram, Pop Anime Comics on Facebook, Pop Anime Comics on YouTube, Pop Anime Comics on TikTok. And as I stated earlier on, I do have all of these books, 15 of them in hollow foil. Very cool. So
it's the jugs that always kind of throw me off at first.
She's got balloon tits. What can I say?
She does, girl, work.
And then I have this one too in hollow foil, and these are just some of the books. And then I also just brought in some interesting merch, but you might not be able to see it. It's kind of invisible, so there you go. It's kind of invisible. Some people have been telling me as I've been sharing this that they can't see it. I can't see you. It's all right.
Yeah, I can't see it.
But yeah, no, I carry a lot of merch in my eBay store, everybody, all jokes aside. And that is Pop Anime Comics Collectibles. And I got everything in there from comics that I sell for $10 to comics that I sell for $800 and everything in between. So if you're looking for rare books, exclusive books, awesome books, I'm going to be having some One Piece stuff coming in a few weeks and some really heavy anime stuff. I got some Sailor Moon books coming in too. I got some Gurren Lagann books coming in, and then I got some other funky stuff coming in that are more video game oriented, and I got some Britney Spears or Britney ear stuff coming in as well. So obviously be on the lookout for that, and links in the description down below. And so that's everything that I got. And yeah, no, I appreciate everybody watching, and I'm going to give you the final word.
Yes, and with that being said, spay and neuter all your pets.
Okay, we're gonna end there. That works for me, everybody. That's a wrap.